Hello, man, I am excited to be sharing this Facebook Live tonight. I'm going to be talking about the magic of passenger status in a business. And if you've never heard about that, I'm going to fill you in just a second. But first, quick update on what's going on with us here. By the way, if you are watching this, it's most likely on the replay since nobody's here yet. So I'd love if you would comment replay and then just tell me where you're watching this video from. I'd love to know where people are from, where people are joining me from. I'm a public speaker. I love audiences, so I like to know where the audience is coming from. And today, I'm excited to be doing this video, this recording on passenger status, because it's such a game-changing concept that has legitimately changed the lives of tons of our members. But real quick update on what's going on with me and Katie first. So, and this is actually very relevant to the subject that I'm going to be recording today. So for most of my business career, I've been like most entrepreneurs. I take a few days off here, a few days off there. Maybe I have been able to take a week off every once in a while during my career, but I've never taken considerable contiguous time off. So like I've never taken several weeks off at a time until a couple of years ago. I've been running businesses for my entire adult life. I've been an entrepreneur the whole way through. And in the last really about 10 years, I've started figuring out how to run a business in a totally different way where I don't have to be beholden to the business, where I am not completely tethered to the business. And I got a massive test of being in that place a couple of years ago when my mom passed away. Katie and I were vacationing in Hawaii. My family's in California. We were on our second day in Hawaii. After having talked about taking a Hawaii trip for several years, we were on our second day at the Grand Wailea, and I got a text message from my family that my mom had a stroke. And we immediately left the island, went to California, saw my mom in a hospital. We were there for a while. She actually, for several days, I think over a week, she actually was getting released from the hospital. So we flew back to Texas and she passed away. And I think I was one of those delusional people who actually believed my mom was never going to die. And I realized that day that I was living in this massive delusion. And it was one of the most disorienting and anxiety-provoking and challenging things I've ever been through in my life. And here's what I did. Found out my mom had passed away, and I messaged Haley, who's our director of operations and is absolutely extraordinary. And I let her know what had happened, and I told her I'm going to need some time. And she said, how much? I said, I don't know, but at least a month. I know that I'm not going to be back before then. And I separated completely from my business, where there was only a few text messages in that time frame, which extended from a month to about 10 weeks. And the business was safe. The business was fine. It moved forward. It was great. It did what it needed to do. And I had time to process, and I had time to do what I needed to do. And that was a massive test of our systems and our structure and what we do as a company. And it worked. And so we're doing it again, but for a much more exciting reason. This Tuesday, Katie and I are leaving on a 3, probably 4-week road trip with our kids, where we are driving from Texas all the way out to California and making several stops on the way, and then taking another route back and making several stops in another direction on the way back. And so we will be out of our business for about 3 to 4 weeks. And here's what I believe will happen. I actually think the business is going to grow during this time period. Not think, we already have the numbers there. We already have the projects there. The business is going to do extraordinarily well. And here's why. I'm in a place where I am now running my business from a passenger seat. So let me share with you what this means. So when you look at the average entrepreneur, here's what the average entrepreneur believes. The average entrepreneur believes that they are always going to have to be involved in their business. They're always going to have to own big parts of their business. In the back of our minds, we're all, an average entrepreneur always thinks like, I need to know what's going on. I need to make all these decisions. I need to verify everything that's happening. I need to be involved in everything. And here's why. Like, if you feel this way, I'm not calling you average. I'm just saying that's how most entrepreneurs look at it. But there's a reason, and it's not your fault. The reason we feel this way as entrepreneurs is because if you look at the simple equation of starting a business, successfully starting a business requires you to do everything. So watch this. Successfully starting a business conditions you to do everything. We are conditioned by the early days of any business we start that we need to do everything, be involved in everything, own everything, understand everything in order for the business to be successful. Now, when we look at how businesses are really run, we look at this conditioning that happens. Here's the reality of growing and scaling a business. And I want you to understand, if you want to grow and scale a business, here's what you have to do as an entrepreneur. You have to systematically, over time, do less and less in the business and let your team do more and more. I often tell entrepreneurs, until you give it up, your team can't step up. And so if you want to grow a business to the full capacity you can, that means you have to commit to doing less every single day. That means over time, you do less for the business. Over time, you're not as involved in all of the details. Over time, you don't own everything. Over time, you don't make all the decisions, because if you are involved in the details, you own things and you make the decisions, the business is dependent on you, and you are the business's biggest liability. And you're probably the business's biggest bottleneck if you're doing all of those things. There is a much better way to do this. When we as entrepreneurs systematically offload to our team and we demand that we have time back so we can go be visionaries, that is how we really grow the business. And this is a mindset shift. I want you to understand, this takes a massive mindset shift. And if I look at my membership, one of the members who has there's a comment I'll comment on in just a second. When I look at one of my members, the member, a lot of the members that we have stand out. They're extraordinary entrepreneurs, but one of the ones I'm most proud of working with, and one of the ones that I personally follow and I'm inspired by on a daily basis, is Rachel Rogers. Rachel is extraordinary. She's the CEO of Hello 7. She wrote the book and has the program called We Should All Be Millionaires. She's at the top of the sales list right now when it comes to books. She's just on Good Morning America the other day. She's done tons of media recently. She's just crushing it. And in our most recent summit, Rachel actually said her plan is to grow a $100 million business, and she wants to see if she can do it working 1 or 2 days a week. Now, here's why I got so excited by that statement. When I hear entrepreneurs make statements like that, like I'm going to turn it all over, I'm going to figure out how everybody else does this stuff, I'm going to figure out how the pressure is not on me, that is when businesses grow the fastest. And I know this is counterintuitive. I want you to know, I know this feels counterintuitive. I know that it feels like it doesn't really make sense. But here's the reality of growing a business, is that the more we hand over, the more we give our team, the more we have somebody else do, the less we do it and the less we are the biggest bottleneck. And if you're wondering how it's going for Rachel, she's absolutely killing it. She, when we started working together a couple of years ago, she was at 2 million. A year later, just under 2 million. A year later, she was at 4 million, or that was last year. This year, she recently was at an $8 million run rate on Good Morning America. She said she's at a $10 million run rate. So her business is exploding. And if I look at my membership, she is one of the CEOs who's handed the most over, who's the least involved, who is the most in the passenger seat. So let's talk about this passenger seat concept and how you get there. Being in the passenger seat, here's what it means. I want you to understand something. It still means you're guiding your business. It still means you're leading your business. It still means you own the business. It just means you're doing everything from a passenger seat. I think of like Richard Branson. When you look at Richard Branson, he's not tactically involved in the hundreds of businesses that he's involved in. He's involved in the passenger seat. He's an advisor. He's a coach. He's there when they need them. That's how you should be with your team. And so here's how we do this over time. Number one, in order to get into the passenger seat in your business, your team has to have a clear strategic plan. If nobody's ever told you this before, let me be the first. If you don't have a strategic plan in the business, you don't know where you're going, your team doesn't know where you're going, that means you have to make it up on a daily basis. It will keep you the biggest bottleneck, and it will suppress your growth like crazy. If your business isn't growing right now and you don't have a plan, that's probably why. It's the number one problem in entrepreneurship that people don't talk about, because when we have a plan, our team is not beholden to us. If we give our team a plan, they can get out in front of us, lead the way, and we can coach from behind. So number one is having a plan. Number two, it's systematically offloading everything you're doing. And I want you to understand something. If I just made that statement, systematically offloading everything you're doing, and in the back of your mind, you heard, but I can't give up, insert whatever it is for you, I want to challenge that statement. I want you to give everything up. I want you to have in your mind that you are going to back out of doing anything so that you build the infrastructure in your business so everything can happen without you. That is how real sustainable businesses are created. And we have this saying in our group, whenever somebody says, well, Alex, I'm the only one who can do this. Somebody commented over here, I can't see who it is, but somebody says, but Alex, they can't do it as good as me. Heavy sarcasm and my pre-sharpened mindset. Well, that's how we all think. It's like, oh, they can't do it as good as me, as fast as me, the way I want it to be. You know what we call that? We call that calling yourself out as a unicorn. we have this saying in our group, you are not a unicorn. You are not the only person who can do it. And even furthermore, you're probably not the best person who can do it. There's probably someone out there who can do it better than you can. And so get that out of your head. The more you think you're the only one, the more you will be the only one. And the more you're going to limit the growth of your company. And then here, this plan, how do you get there? So one, clear plan. Number two, systematically offload. And number three, you step into and you lead the business from the passenger seat. This means that when you're in meetings, you talk less, which means you say a lot more. People hear what you say because you're not talking as much. This means that when you're in exchanges with your team, you let them drive and you only interject or bring something up when you feel like they're going in the wrong direction. This means that when your team is looking to accomplish something, you let them create the plan, show you the plan, you verify that plan and help them move forward. And you no longer own, drive, and you're not the tip of the spear from your business, for your business. In fact, when you look at the animal kingdom, there's an example of this. Wolf packs, when you look at a pack of wolves, the leader of a wolf pack is not in front. The leader of a wolf pack gives directions to the wolves in front and leads from the back, picks up stragglers, make sure nobody gets lost, make sure everybody's with the pack. And if I think of a CEO, a successful CEO, that's how it should be. We put out a strategic plan so their team knows where they're going, they're out in front, and then we stay behind and we coach, we help, we give encouragement, we let people know they're going on the right path. And this is running a business from the passenger seat. And if you want to grow a business to its full capacity, I believe this is truly the only way. Here's why. As long as the business is beholden on you, as long as the business relies on you for anything, you are the business's biggest limitation. Let's get you out of that position so the business can fly, it can soar, it can grow, it can go out and change the world, and you can coach it all from the passenger seat. If you'd like some more information on what I've been talking about, if you'd like to understand where you are on the path to entrepreneurial success, and if you related to what I'm saying, that I think you'll relate to a lot more of our content. And I would encourage you to go to billionairecode.com, answer a few questions for my team, and you will see a presentation on the true path to success as an entrepreneur, exactly the 9 levels it takes to go from 0 to $100 million. And if you go to billionairecode.com right now, you'll understand where you are on the path to success as an entrepreneur, what you should be focused on right now, and what you already should have taken care of, and where you'll be focused next so you know where to put your resources. Billionairecode.com. I'd love to have you check it out. And remember, you do not have to be the tip of the spear for your business. In fact, once your business is up and running, you need to stop sacrificing for that business and make sure it is running. It's running without you. You have infrastructure in the business so that you are not the biggest liability and you can keep it going from the passenger seat. That's how you create a true empire and change the world. Thanks for being here with me today. I appreciate you. And if what I said meant something to you or you feel like somebody else could use it, please share this post or tag the person that you feel could benefit from it. I appreciate you being here with me.